It's not quite. Oh, is it?
That clock's a little.
Oh, okay. Means it's the hour of 9 o'clock. We'll call this meeting over and a roll call.
Hess,
Here.
Bobbit,
Here.
Vite.
Here.
Cindy, would you lead us in a word of prayer, please?
Bow your heads. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. So many blessings that you give to us in each and every day, that we might be thankful for it, dear Lord. And we sit here today to do the work of you, for you and for our county, dear Lord. I ask that you be with us in making our decisions, that we'll use our hearts, minds, and our souls, dear Lord, and the ability that you give us to make those decisions. I ask that you be with our servicemen and all women who serve us, and make this a world that we can truly be free, dear Lord, to be one nation under God. Because of you, we are able to do that. I ask that you be with all of our leaders from our president on down, dear Lord. Again, be with them, give them the guidance and the direction. We dedicate our work to you, and again, we hope it finds it pleasing to you. I ask this all in thy precious name. Amen.
Amen. Dina, would you lead us in the flag salute?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I acknowledge that the agenda was properly posted in accordance to the Open Meeting Act.
Okay. Has anybody signed the sign-in sheet down there? Okay. Comment from the public. Seeing didn't have any. We move down to item 6. Discussion and take possible action on the following agenda items. Item A. Courthouse relocation of offices. I know everybody's probably heard all kinds of things. We kind of got a little information and stuff, and we are meeting here today to try to get some things lined out and get started.
I guess I might as well start. This was under my watch, and so I've just kind of continued to work with it. We're needing to go out for bids to move our buildings, and we've been waiting to get bids back, and we've asked 3 people to turn in bids to kind of tell us, what it would cost for us to put those buildings on their property. And the first one was the 8111 properties down here. It's 81 Seed, and he has turned in. We've finally got his bid. He was having to wait to see what all his costs were going to be, and his monthly rent is $2,800 per month for the 2 trailers, and it would be gated. It would be secured. We have 1.25 acres there. They'll provide all the water, sewer, and electricity length. We have to pay all the bills, obviously, and he said it can be done quickly. So that's what his quote is. Then we've talked to the Grant County Soil Conservation District. Their lot is located over on Front Street. They had 5 12-foot buildings that they had put together as a temporary building when the FSA office had to move out of their buildings while they were building new property. Our site needs to cover 60 feet by 60 feet, and it will cover that. That is what the temporary buildings that sat there previously. It's already got the electric and the sewer and the hookups there. It is not as large of a property. The parking was something we're going to have to consider, is if we use that, whether employees will be able to park there or if we'll have to have them park somewhere else. That's something we've got to look at. But theirs is $500 a month. And the third option that we were looking at was the Grant County Fairgrounds in Pond Creek. And Dean had been in contact with Mike Peterman, and we could set them, and Max was in contact with Phil Ransom, who's the chair. Grant County owns that property, but they have no problem with us parking those trailers there. We could park them behind where the women's building, the old women's building is, and then if you remember, it used to have behind that was where all the show buildings were. So there is water and sewer and electric there. The sewer is capped off down there. The water we're not sure exactly what was the water, because the water lines came into the cement, and when they took that out, we'll have to find the water lines.
It went, there's a meter that went to the west side of the women's building, and we would just have to go in and find that and and shut the water off going into the women's building and ditch over, or find the old lines and ditch
find the
over.
old lines.
Yeah.
And that one, it's my understanding, as long as we did the work, we'd need to go in there and probably rock it and get all the utilities, bring in the water, and make that all hooked up. That would be on us, and probably rock it and level it and do that. So those are the options that we are going to be discussing here on that. We know that we probably need some place that we can have it for 1 year. Obviously, once you move it in, even if we're moved out, we're not going to be in it a full year, but it'll take time to, find some place to go with it. We don't know what we're going to do with the building, so that's pretty much where we're at. So, no, it's not available.
It's full up. Yeah, they've got about 60 units there, and they're all full, and it's held now by an oil and gas corporation, and that's where their people stay while they're up there working on oil lines and rigs and things like that. So
the fairgrounds it wouldn't cost us nothing rent.
No, we just
basically free.
Is that what he said?
Well, we didn't even discuss that.
Oh, okay.
I never got a hold of Phil. I talked
Okay.
to Mac. Mac
Yeah.
said he was going to get a hold of Phil and,
I did.
and discuss that.
Phil
Okay.
didn't have a problem with that, but I'm sure we'll pay our share of the bills.
Yeah, I imagine we pay the utilities, all the utilities probably. So I don't know if they're separated or what, but
Right.
that would be, to the other thing I didn't get a hold of Tim on is the microwaving our phones and all of our internet and everything. We'll probably have to put a tower up to be able, because it's got to be a line site, so we'd have to microwave from the courthouse, so we'd have to put some kind of a tower up.
So even if we do the fairgrounds or the ASCS.
No, I don't think the ASCS office is going to be too much of a problem
Okay.
here in Lamont, in Medford, but to get it to Pond Creek,
Yeah.
we're going to have to put a tower up to get it there.
Yeah.
So that's what we got. So
Are they not having internet installed at the fairgrounds, the new fairgrounds building down there?
not to my knowledge,
Well,
Brandon. But I mean, they might. But
they
this is
contacted-
this is our phone system that comes through the sheriff's office.
They're doing like a
So,
Wi-Fi thing or
yeah.
something, I think. They're
Right.
doing like
So
if I remember right.
so all right, Max. So that's our choices, and you take 12 months on that. 100 is 33,600 on 81, and 6,000 at the Grant County Soil Conservation. And I guess we're really not certain, and the cost on the fairgrounds is not certain, because it's going to be rock and water lines and towers and stuff. So that cost is kind of an unknown cost, but I don't think it would be less than 6,000
Well, I don't either.
and that. So
Well, to me, I mean, that's quite a bit of difference there. We all knew it was going to cost something to have properties and stuff, but if we've got juice and electricity and sewer and stuff already at the soil conservation lots, to me that kind of looks like the way to go, either that or the fairgrounds. And Phil and I never did discuss, but I'm sure that we'll be responsible for all the bills and things.
that's rock. And the problem with this site is it is not ready to move into right now. We went and looked at it, and it's got water holes, and I think that District 3, you'd done a lot of work over there, and you've hauled shale in, so it has a base, but it's going to have to be graded and rock and packed in, and all the utilities brought in, whereas this one, I think we could easily go out for bids Monday and get them. I looked at that. We're probably going to have to put a temporary drive in to get those buildings, because they were able to, those buildings they brought in, each one was 12 feet, while ours is, and so they could get it across their drive. Coming off Front Street, they extended that drive, but we obviously will not be able to get 24 feet, so it's ditched there, but that won't be hard to put a culvert in there temporarily, and we can, and our shop can do that.
Okay.
So with that,
Well, with that being said, I guess we need a motion to approve. What do you all think?
I wondered why we were here.
I wonder sometimes myself about myself, not about.
Well, I like that better than concrete.
Concrete.
Just because we have to make daily deposits. We have to drive down there.
Yeah, we'd be closer if we had to run around, and if Stephen's going to be up here to that office space that we rented for him, then everybody'd be closer.
Yeah, if we had to come back to our office to pick something up.
Right. Right.
My preference would be the Front Street property.
Well, to me, I mean, we're going to have to do the water and sewer hookups anyway, so it don't matter if we can save. That's considerable amount of savings there over the Brady Sidwell property.
So on the parking situation though, so how would do we kind of know where, I haven't really seen how big, I mean, I paid much attention to how big that
There's
was.
some lots on the south side of there that the soil conservation people tried to purchase, and it was too high. We have not contacted them. I was going to go to Robbins and see who it was and see if we could maybe rent that. There's a lot across the road to the north that we might be able to rent.
that's
for parking.
Kretschmar. Not Brady.
Joan?
Well, the one of the boys.
Tyler,
No.
Trevor.
No. Starts with a B.
One of them T's.
Oh, with a B?
I thought it started with a B. I don't know, but there's a
Blake.
Blake. Yes, Blake Kretschmar, I believe, owns the lot across the street. But the problem with both of those they are grass, and I mean, if we could work out something to rent those, they probably wouldn't be able to be parked on if it rained. My district shop is all gravel, and it's a block south, so it might be we'd park there and have to walk that block.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So anyway, we just don't know. I don't know how much traffic you get. You know, most of our traffic I've always associated with the second floor with the court. You know, I don't associate a lot of foot traffic in here. You're not going to be out, you're not having people come in to do tax protests. You might have a few. You're not collecting taxes, so not to the extent of the December 31st and the March 31st deadline.
In November or December.
We might be in them. We're hoping to be out of them by November.
You're hoping to, but
Yeah.
I will have a lot of traffic.
And during those months, probably no employee would be allowed to park there. It would be, you know, it is what it is. So if it's only so much room, that's what we've got. But
Well,
think what we're going to have when we're done. We're going to have a beautiful building, and we're going to have one that's workable, and that's not going to worry about our electric lines and all of that. So we'll have a really nice building here. So yeah, we're going to have to kind of buck up a little bit for about 8 months, but I think in the end, everybody will be very happy with what we have.
I sure hope so. Spend that kind of money, you hope you've improved stuff. You know, so.
Yeah, and obviously to go with the Soil Conservation District, because again, we're not dealing with one person. It's owned by the Soil Conservation District. They have called for a special meeting. They are having a meeting tomorrow to discuss this contract. to present us a contract. Cindy Sue sent them a copy of the contract that Stephen has on his property. We knew he approved that contract, so we're going to try to keep it very similar because we'd like to get it. They're going to try to get it done, signed on Friday. We'll try to get it to him, and hopefully we can sign it Monday so that we can go out for bids to move the trailers. We have to advertise for 2 weeks. So if we go out for bids on Monday, that is the 25th. Meaning that it has to advertise the 25th and the April 1st, so we could open the bids on April 2nd to award the bids on April 2nd. And I think that we need to put a deadline that
Yes.
they've got to be moved by, I don't know if, like May 3rd. That gives them 3 weeks. I don't know. I know you've been talking to them, and they said most of them thought they could do it in a pretty short turnaround period. It depends what their schedule is. So if we could say, we need them to have the trailers moved, or May 4th, give them a Saturday, maybe even that Sunday, May 5th, and then May 6th we could maybe start moving stuff in, and we'd at least know. So
I did. Max had asked me also to look out on the statewide bid contract to see if there was any kind of moving stuff. And I did find a company, and I talked to him just briefly right before the meeting. And this is not on the moving of the buildings, but more the moving of the content. And so I'm gonna, if it's okay, I'll give that. There were 2 on the state bid, and I printed that out, so I'll give you guys copies or email it to you or whatever. But if you want me to, I can. He said they would come up and actually look at what we need to move, but they are out on the statewide bid, and he said that it should be better.
How did they do that? Did they do it by the hour or by the job?
He called me just right before I walked in, but I can, and then I thought, I found these and I thought this would be helpful. These are lists that show what state bids are available, what kind of areas they have. And, but here's the one I found on the, moving services.
Yeah, we also might try that.
There were 2 different. Well, that was an OEM.
And we also might look on that buy board deal.
Yes.
There might be someone in Enid or Ponca City that is a member of that buy board. And see what they might have.
So when we get ready to move, like if the trailers are there March 5th or May 5th, what do we do, like regarding our office? Do we contact the movers and say, hey, we're ready? Do we make an appointment with you? What do we need to do on our side?
Well, we're just going to have to, we would prefer not to have everybody do their move the same day.
Right.
As whatever, but you contact, we'll get whenever we get a mover decided on, we'll just have to set up a schedule, and you say, okay, on Tuesday, the whatever date, this is when the assessor's office is going to move, and then maybe it might be that afternoon that the clerk's office moves, or
it'd probably be
a day.
I was gonna say probably a day at least, probably to move it, because you're going to move it in and move it in for you. So, yeah, I think we'll just have a schedule.
Okay.
I think we need to get a little kind of a guideline of what they realistically can do in a day, because if they bring 10 guys up, 5 guys up, they might be able to move an office a lot quicker than we think. But then again, if you bring 2 or 3 guys up, it's going to work them. So
if we're packed and ready to go, that is.
That's true.
I mean, we have to do some on our part too.
Well, yeah, I think your personal items or your gig ads and doodads and decorations that you have that you brought in need to be your responsibility to take them home at that time. And then the items that are counties that you use every day, like pens, clips, and paper clips, and stuff like that. Maybe some Arima paper and stuff. So that that whenever you get there that day and you're moved in, you don't have to go what box is this in or that in. Any files that would be needed to be protected, I think you need to manage those yourself. Now, I could be wrong. Everything else, I think the mover should move. But anything that was highly classified, or like personnel files that contain maybe drug tests or whatever, if you have anything such as that, I think that should be protected by the office itself. And then everything else can be moved, and that way you're not going in there that first day going, where's that ream of paper? And they're like, oh, or, you know, little things that would fall in the cracks and disappear, thumb drives and things like that you really need. I think that would be the office's responsibility, and then most of that could go into a small box.
Do we need to take our desks apart, or is that something that they do? 'Cause
I would
mine
say
will have
that
to
they
be-
would do that.
I would say they would
They
probably.
will.
I'm gonna get. I don't know. That's why we're gonna have to get them. We've got to get them up here to look and see. And again, we're gonna ask that anything personal, pictures and flowers and plants and all of that. Take that all home. And then if you want to take it back up to the office when we get moved, but we're not going to pay movers to move all your personal stuff. So
When we do get ready to move, are we going to be set up for business when we get to that trailer? For instance, we got a day of moving.
well, you probably got a day of setting up. I think, yeah, I think we say that, you know, we'll probably have to put something in the paper that says, on these days the treasurer is moving and she will not be available. It doesn't mean you're not going to be at the office, but it means you're packing and moving. And these days the
How many
election.
days do you think?
I don't, Penny, until we get someone in here to say, what do you need to move? Do you need every single thing
Well,
in your
The
office?
only thing that I'm asking about is like when I'm not too worried about the moving, packing, going. I'm worried about is it going to be set up to plug in our computers, to have a telephone, to do business as usual when we get there?
Well, I think what we're going to have to decide is we're going to have to. This is something else we need to talk about as an IT
Right.
person.
Because I was going to say that
And-
entails other
does.
aspects of just
That person will have to identify each office's needs, and then whenever we get the building space, whatever we dedicated to that person, they're going to have to come in there and identify where they can run these buildings have wiring in them.
We just don't know if
We
it's
don't know if it's enough.
enough.
Compatible to.
Yeah. It's Ethernet. We just don't know if it's a
it's Cat
4 or
5.
5. We don't
Cat
know.
5.
Yeah, we don't.
I think one thing that's going to help is when the buildings are set and we're able to walk, you guys are able to walk in, we say this is going to be your area, you'll be able to say, well, I want my desk here, and because for us to go in there and range it may not be as efficient as what you want it to do, and they put them in there, and then you go, oh no, we really need to do, it would work better this way. So I
Yeah,
think,
it would be nice to take
Yeah.
a walk through them.
yeah, take a walk through them after they're set, and everybody, and we say, okay, this group's going to go here, we're going to split the room here and here, and
Right.
you know, and we get some feedback
Yeah,
as to
these
what
two
you
are
need
just
for the
up there.
movers to say, and it may be nothing more than a piece of duct tape with this desk goes here, you know,
This is
or a drawing, you know.
SW050 is moving services.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we
that
can
must
graph
be
it out.
it.
I think that
Yeah,
would be
that's it.
that would be
Oh, this
helpful
is
to the
it.
movers and
That's
to
it,
us
yeah.
in the long
So we'll
run.
look on that desk by
Okay.
too. So, but I think once we get the building set, we'll probably we're gonna also be going out for bids for our IT to move everything. We're gonna get bids on that from people to move it. And I imagine once we get our building set up, then we'll probably have to give them, I don't know, 3 or 4 days to, you know, make sure everything over there is ready just to plug in. So. I don't see us actually. We was hoping to start moving out people week by week starting May 1st, but I'm going to say it's probably not going to start moving us out till like May 13th. So I'd say if we get the building set up by the 3rd and the IT people in
Short time.
that deal, then we'll have 3 weeks. Well, yeah, 4 weeks, but we'd like everybody out of this building except the clerk out by May 31st. So that gives us 3 weeks. I mean, if each office had a week, I mean, I don't think you're going to need a week. So I think it's all doable, but it's going to be right up it's not going to be early like we thought. So,
Are the buildings, other than, I mean, we talked about the utilities, are the buildings ready for us to move in as far as, no?
No toilet.
There's no toilet.
Right.
Yeah, we're going to probably have.
it lacks the toilets were removed, so the toilets got to be put in. But everything else is, I mean, it's got electrical, it's got fire, it's got the internet. We don't know if the internet is compatible, but it's already got fire. It's got the heating and air conditioning. Now, obviously, we'll have to get that set up and make sure they're working.
It's got fire. It's got what?
Yeah, it's got fire. It's got all the fire stuff,
pole, like
fire poles and
fire
sprinklers.
alarms.
It's got fire alarms, and yeah, it was a school building. They had to meet all the criteria. It's got the safety doors.
So is the bathrooms in the middle?
Yes, but both trailers are not exactly the same, but both of them are in the middle. They might one I think is setting this way, and one the bathrooms they're not exactly identical.
But they're in the middle, so it kind of divides the
Yes, it does. Yeah, you've got 2 huge rooms, bathrooms in the middle, and 2 huge rooms. So there's 4. We'll have 4 rooms, 4 bigger than any one of your offices. They're bigger than any of your offices. So.
On the IT, so you are considering going out with bids to?
We are. We're going to probably. We're looking for 3. We always like 3 bids for everything. So I think we're going to be looking at that gentleman that was here on Mondays. We're gonna ask him for a bid. We're gonna ask Kelpro for a bid, and we're gonna ask Can Okla for a bid. So.
Okay.
The only thing I'd like to say is,
At least.
as far as location, we haven't picked
Oh, you
one
gave
yet,
us
have we?
okay.
But I mean,
No.
the only thing I'd like to say is if we take it to the Grant, if we take the buildings to the Grant
Listed in
County, and
here.
then one of them stays for the Oklahoma extension, it's already moved. There won't be double handling. The bad side of that is people would be expected to drive to Pond Creek. And as far as a mileage, I've heard that question asked. I have people that drive from Waukeeta, from Medford to Pond Creek, and we don't pay mileage to them, and that would set a precedent
give
to
us
where
a-
I would
do
have
they
to
give
pay
a
mileage,
mileage?
maybe. I mean, then they would expect mileage. So going down there would be no mileage. Up here, it would be handier for everybody that's working for this next, while this is going on, it would be much more handier for us to go to the number 2 location. And even though it might cost us a little bit, it
You
would
can't pay mileage for the first trip.
do what?
No, that's commuting. We can't pay commuting mileage, and officers you all get your stipend anyway. So, but no, you cannot pay off. That's commuting. You cannot pay commuting miles.
Nobody asked. I think we all knew that.
Okay, well, I had heard somebody ask one time if we were going to pay mileage if we went to Pond Creek, and I don't see where that's a doable thing.
All right, Max, are we ready to make any decisions?
I think we're ready to move forward with the location.
Picking a location. Okay.
Would entertain a
Well, let's let everybody calm down so we can. Okay. After reviewing these and thinking about them.
Vote on them each one, yay and nay. Or
Oh,
just-
I think
making sure we was ready to make a motion here. Consideration, every one of them has pros and cons, from having the security of the fencing and a large area to park, to moving to Pond Creek where it would create a lot of travel, to having a smaller lot that may be inconvenience, but in the best interest of taking care of our taxpayer dollars, I believe that if we can come to an agreement with the Grant County Soil Conservation District at $500 a month rent and park them there, that would be my motion to work out a rental agreement with Grant County Soil Conservation District.
I second that.
Okay, it's been moved and it's been seconded to secure a lease with the Soil Conservation Company for $500 a month for their lots for temporary housing of the Grant County Courthouse.
For 12 months.
For 12
how long?
months.
Yeah.
Yes, for
And
12
then
months and then
monthly.
monthly. Mhm.
The way
Well, let's just work that contract out. We're going to have to vote on the actual contract
okay.
Monday. We'll need that. Stephen, I'll try to get that to you. They're meeting at 10:30. I'm going to that meeting, and we did send them a copy of that contract that you signed off on yours, and they were going to try to do it similar to that. And the board will meet. So if I can get that to you Friday, if we could have that back Monday, so that without that contract, we can't really go out for bids because we don't have a binding contract to have that lot rent. So
So I need to put signing of contract and then also going out for bids.
yes.
Okay. We'll have a roll call vote.
Hess,
Yes.
Bobbit,
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Okay. That's great. That'll get the first step started. We can get the buildings spot identified if everything follows through and they approve. We'll get that. Then we can go out Monday for the bid.
Max, do you want to go ahead and just think about trying to get Cindy to see about trying to get some, I mean, I imagine these movers, we're going to need some time to come in and look at everything that's going to be
Well,
moved.
I'd like to
So-
know, talk to them to get an idea of time frame because we need to put a date in there.
The gentleman I spoke to this morning from that first one that's on the state bid, he said the sooner the better.
Okay. Well,
Because
why don't
for them
we-
to at least come up and give us a quote, so
Yeah.
if it's okay, if you all will direct me to, I would go ahead and contact him to come up and, so they can assess, to give us a
Yeah,
quote.
why don't, look at that Best Buy and
Yeah.
Larry Hand said he knew somebody. Why don't you reach out to all of those
Okay.
to have them come look at our deal and see what needs moved.
Okay.
And, I imagine, everything's got to come out of the building, so whether you're all your desks are going to have to come out of the building. So whether you wrap them and just push them up against the wall to not use, or if you're going to use them, I imagine, they'll need to know that because they're going to have them set them up too. They're going to move them. We want them to move the desk and somebody point and say, I want that desk here, I want that file cabinet there, I want that
Well, the
there.
gentleman I spoke to this morning said they have moved
Yeah.
several government because they
Right.
are, so
Yes.
that's what we do. So.
Okay.
Everything is going to go from our offices into the trailers.
Yeah, so whether you,
Everything.
yes, I'd
We're
say,
not storing anything.
where would we store it?
I'm
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. I don't know where we. I mean, I've got my shop building, but those buildings
It was
are
a question
bigger.
that I had, and I thought
Okay.
that's what we were doing this morning.
Yeah.
Was trying to figure out
Right.
what was
Yeah,
going on.
I think
The only place we know of that I can think of off the top of my head where we might be able to store something would be in the women's building down at Pond Creek, as it's not being used for anything except for some storage stuff. And if we had things that we did need to be stored, we might be able to put them in there.
But I think if we could move it, mileage and everything else. If we're
Yeah.
going to do it right
Yeah.
here, those rooms are big. I just say if you can wrap it up and push it to the side, and if you needing to make, what I was been told is if you want to make a wall type deal, use your file cabinets, face them back to back. If you want to partition something out, which we'll probably have to do to have a boardroom somewhere in there. Put some file cabinets in the boardroom somewhere in there, or if we need to, we can use my district shop, the jury room, for our board meeting room. If we can certainly do that.
Okay.
So
Do we know yet if we need to empty our file cabinets and our desks out before they
one
move it, or are they
I
gonna
talked
all
to,
unload
the
it?
first mover I talked to said no, you leave everything in your,
Okay.
and that's what I'm pretty sure, you leave everything in it and they wrap them up, and I'll ask that gentleman when I call back, and I'll kind of ask those questions. Do you all wrap them, do you bubble wrap them, because I know Penny has new furniture, she doesn't want it all
Right.
banged up, and so I'll find out that stuff and then maybe try to send out a little email or
Do
something.
we know
that's
whether
okay.
the elevator can support moving a file cabinet fully loaded?
might be one at a time, but a file cabinet won't weigh much more than us, would it?
You'd be surprised how heavy those
Yeah.
things get when they're loaded
Yeah.
full of paper.
Well, it might be one file cabinet at a time. We've got a weight limit on it, on our deal. We do have a weight limit.
Well, not yours. DJ's.
Oh, okay. I thought I said Robin.
Stephen, would you hand me those pictures back?
So we'll probably try to
Yes.
get some ideas so we can bid that moving as well, and the IT Cindy. We probably need to put all three of those on there so that we can maybe
Agenda for
for the
Monday.
agenda for
Okay.
Monday. So again, you might want to call Ken Okla and call that gentleman back and call Kelpro and tell them that we want bids.
Okay.
We want bids. We're not going to just we want we're gonna have bids on them.
Do we want to contact Pioneer too?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Pioneer. Pioneer. And it'll be moving them and setting them up.
And moving them back and setting them up?
Yeah, we'll probably do that I don't know if you want to do that at the same bid or if you want to do that later. Because if you bid something, that's how you'd be paying partial bids. I guess you could. I guess
Well,
like building a
my-
building.
But I don't know if they would want to bid on the move back because, in a year, costs could change.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
guess.
Do we know what we're going to do about the mail? While the courthouse is closed.
No, that's a good thing.
Well, Dina says all hers already goes to the post office. I think what you do is you go down to the post office and you fill
forward.
out a forwarding card,
Temporary.
a temporary forwarding card, and then they'll forward it. That's no different than you are at the home. So you have to have it forwarded.
And the trailer's gonna be insured for like natural disasters if we have, through ACO, do we have that in writing? Or is
ACO
that-
handles our insurance, and anytime we do anything, they handle it. So they would have that.
Have you all been inside
Mhm.
these, with this picture, then this is just one of and they're different on the insides.
Yes, both of them are different.
This one has a lot of cabinets,
Mm-hmm.
and I know we all have a lot of stuff that needs to be, do you think we'll need to get shelving, or do you think there'll be enough storage?
Those, I did open those up. They have like shelves. So like you have more than one. Like when you open it, there's 2 levels. So there's pretty good storage. And I don't know that I would buy
I don't
shelving
know,
right
and I
off the
don't
bat.
I don't think we don't need to buy. I mean, you might have to. How much shelving do you have in your office?
Not a lot, but
See, that's what I'm getting at.
We
If
could
you
cross-
can,
we could
if
cross
you
that bridge
can,
when we get
yeah,
there.
that's probably. But if you need to keep accessible what you know you're going to need through November, and the rest of it box up and label it so you know what's in it. So you don't necessarily have to have. I know we have all of our reams of paper on display, but really we can keep paper in boxes until we need it. If there's stuff you can keep in boxes till you need it.
My plan is to take all of the old files that are up above to the attic, but everything that's down below that is stuff that we use for each election. So there's a lot of stuff that we have to have, and we don't have shelves that go with us. So I'm just wondering if there's going to be enough storage. And like we can figure it out. It's just a question.
Yeah, and really we can't answer it until y'all walk through and give us an idea, and it's kind of it's one of those things you kind of have to work through and work out as it comes up. I believe so.
Okay. We have a lot of things that aren't answered, and I wish we had more answers for you all about storage and stuff, But let's all try to do the best we can. I mean, as far as I'm saying, taking stuff. Robin, what did you say? What did you say?
I'm not trying to be difficult. I
Right.
just was asking a question.
Yeah.
Do you suppose I'll need to order shelving? Is that something?
She's just trying to be prepared.
We don't assume. We don't
I would not.
presume right at the moment you would have to.
One thing that is in my head is there's specific shelving for our voting machines, and right now they're just stacked on each other. And that wouldn't have to be inside a cabinet that way if I had those shelves.
Yeah.
I'll just wait and see what we see when we get
Yeah.
there.
Now, your machines are stacked right now.
Yes.
Then why can't you move them down there and stack them?
Pardon me?
So if they're stacked here, why can't you move them down there and stack them?
I could.
Okay.
It's just that there are these specific shelves that I would eventually like to have that the machines, and that makes them, you can just take each one off without having to undo the whole stack.
Gotcha.
And putting it back. They're just a
Individualized
shelving
them.
unit, and it's just something I would like to have eventually.
Are the
and I thought
shelves
maybe now's the
movable,
time to-
or are they built in?
To get that, pardon me?
Are these shelves here built in, or? Oh, okay.
You know, obviously, if you're using your own budget and you're going to buy shelving anyway, and it's going to work in any place you go, whether it's in that room or on the third floor or at that deal, then, you know, if you've got the budget and you want to buy it,
But she'd have to anticipate it to know if she's gonna have the budget or not. She'd have to ask for that in her budget.
so if it's not in your budget, that's the state. I don't know, does the state provide that? I don't know. So
They do the technology stuff. I don't know if they would do the shelving for it or not.
So anyway, I guess right now, best to move forward. If you're wanting to know today, I said your best deal to move forward. If you need to know today, is to stack them down there just like you stack them here.
I can just see all of our little clear around the bottom of the floor because everything is in little slide out trays. You know that we have all of the mail outs and things that we have to do. So it's just in my head.
What about our
elections
vaults?
this year? Do we have elections this
Got
year?
one April 2nd.
Well, I know, but we'll still be here
It's presidential
this year.
this coming year. Yeah.
What about our vaults? Are we taking stuff, our filing cabinets out of those vaults too? Or is this just gonna be the?
No, I think
it
the vaults.
stays.
You can leave your stuff in your vaults. So
But we can take our file cabinets out of them if we want, right?
yes.
That's where all of
Yeah.
ours.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Oh yes.
And we
But the
may-
presidential election isn't until 2020.
Right.
She's worst case scenario. I mean, if things don't go right, we could be in this trailer. I mean, seriously, you gotta
tape that woman's mouth shut.
I don't see us
don't
being
even-
in there. I do
We don't
not
want to
see
even
us.
think about that.
I don't see it. The only reason is if this building burned down or a natural disaster came through. You
Well,
know.
if a tornado comes through, we're screwed.
We're in
Yeah.
trouble.
Yeah, because we're in trailers.
Yeah. So
I just thought if there wasn't an election, you wouldn't have to take those.
I agree, but every month there's a possibility. Every month is a possibility, and so you can't until.
and you do
No.
remember you've got access to this building after
So, yeah, I know. I
hours.
thought about that too. Pardon
And
me.
remember, you've got access to this building after hours. You just have to
Yeah.
come in with hard hats and be led through. But we've got access to the building. So
That's something I wondered if you didn't have to take.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not-
That relocation of the offices is basically what we met here today to find out, to bring up this other stuff and get started and give Cindy direction. So
yeah.
we've done
So
that.
if we can try to, we'll definitely go out. We definitely need to sign the contract to know we're moving, so that we definitely can go out for bids to get those moved. And then if we can try to come up with how, I don't know how to bid moving. I think people are gonna have to come in here and tell us. I don't know if you bid that by the job or by the hour. I don't know how they bid that to find out, but it's moving it and setting it up. Or IT, the same thing.
And we're going to,
And we'll need to, when you bid that IT, Cindy, I guess what we'll have to have them also do is we probably need to have them look at the buildings to tell us because in that, do we need to have them bid if we don't have enough internet to bid that? To add that
yeah.
in. Maybe have them bid, if there's not enough wiring, if they do that by the foot, or how do they do that? It's very likely there might not be. I know each one of them had. Do you remember, Cindy? I know I saw several blue lines in each room, but I don't know what. I don't
I'm
know
sure they're going to have
how
to
much.
drop some lines in there. I would
Yeah.
imagine.
So might.
Do we have to have 3 plumbers, 3 electricians, 3 to do the work on
Well, we'll
hooking?
have to have to hook it up, but those won't necessarily have to be bid because they'll be under the. I don't think they'll cost that much to hook up, but we will need to talk to Teft and Blanton and
Give them a heads up.
And I did.
tell them, yeah,
I
that we're
did
going to be
mention
to
it to both of them. I left Luke a message,
and
and he
Slater
hasn't called back.
Electric.
Okay.
well, and we
Yes.
want them, these other people that's doing the IT to be in on the courthouse renovation bid
Yeah,
process.
to make
'cause,
sure we get
Yeah, make sure
lines.
that they're going to get
the
all the
lines.
drops in here that we
Oh,
need.
okay.
Yeah. we need.
You know, we go back to what people wanted on their wish list, you know, when we ask everybody to fill out their what we would like to have or change or whatever, you know, list. So,
I wanted to keep my walls.
did you?
Yeah.
Well, do you have a place at home we can deliver them to?
It's the rules, Matt.
Oh,
He's in rare form
okay.
today.
That is the good
Yes. You're in rare form today, Matt.
I am.
Thank you for being so accommodating.
Well, I hope you take that in the text it was meant. So, okay, we've decided on a relocation spot so we can get that started. We all know that we're running out of time to get this stuff done, so we're going to try to keep things moving at a quick pace to be able to accommodate our dates that we've set. And we will get, Cindy, if you can bring back the information Monday, then we'll maybe make some more decisions on the timeline.
Okay, I'll work on that.
Okay. Item 7, Commissioner's comments. Dean?
I believe the choices we made are the best for everybody. I think we're just going to have to solve some problems as they come up, and some of the questions we've had we won't know until we see buildings and see how things arranged and everything like that. We may have to go get some shelving for here or there or whatever, but I think it's all minor issues compared to what we're up to at this month. And I think we just stay happy and work through all this. You know, that's all I got to say.
I thank you all for working through this. We're going to have a beautiful building and a better, efficient building that with all the improvements we're making, it'll be good. I think if you've got very specific questions and what you're wondering about your moving, if you would please put that all in writing and send that to Cindy Pratt in an email, and we can address them that way. But trying to sit here and come up with answers off the top of our head isn't always the best way to solve those problems. We need time to look at them and to see what it is. So instead of coming in and trying to figure out, like today, I can't answer all of those questions, and some of those I've never even thought about. So if you can start sending all your questions to Cindy, and then we can, you know, review them that way. We really need it in writing.
That's okay. I get what you're saying about not being able to do research before.
Right.
However, just keep in mind that as much as you like respect, we like to be respected too. So when you answer us, try to be respectful when you answer
I
us.
apologize if I was short. I don't mean to be.
It could be a good thing.
Yeah.
This could be a very good thing.
So,
but it's going to take cooperation from everybody.
And everybody. That's correct.
Everybody.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Right. I was just reiterating that. So anyway, so thank you.
Well, kind of along the same lines, just like Stephen bringing up about the mail. If you guys have questions and you email us, that helps trigger things for us that we maybe didn't think about or put as much thought into as we needed to. And that's what we're asking from you all. It's going to overall help us to improve and do things and address these situations before we get too far into it. I appreciate everybody coming in here, and thank you for your input. And we'll know more next week. But
Can I ask one question?
What's that?
What color are our walls going to be?
They're all very
crimson and cream.
Good idea. I like it.
You ask.
It's all the walls are neutral, but on each floor, each different office has got a different color. It's a pop color that's like a mauve or I can't remember,
Kind
Cindy,
of earthy tone.
or earthy tone. All the walls are going to be all the same, but like.
I don't want green.
You don't want green?
I think yours might have been a pale blue on your floor. There's a mauve, a pinkish color, and yeah. But it's on and not all offices have it. just some offices, they came up with some interior certain walls in different, and every floor is different, but all the basic walls are all like a cream color, just a real light
So your
cream.
interior decorator came up with a color scheme?
I think blue is suited.
I'd be okay with crimson and cream. Just
Would you?
I'm,
Okay.
No
I'm
orange.
thinking yours
orange.
might be orange. We're going to talk about that.
Orange with a black carpet.
Yeah, I think you're really gonna like it.
Just-
I think you're really gonna like it.
I'm
So,
sure glad I'm the chairman this year. Everything will be crimson and cream.
so,
Oh gosh.
okie doke.
Okay, that's pretty much my comments. Item 8, adjournment.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Dean Veit moved and Cindy Bobbitt seconded. All in favor?
Hess,
Aye.
Bobbit,
Aye.
Bite.
Aye.
9:50.
9:50. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Do you,
That's Cindy. There was only one.